Aaron, one woman tells me that once the jail doors shut, her father's health care is put on the line. I spent months investigating. Here's what I found.
Steve Faylor has been sitting in the Bibb County jail for months, and he suffers from type 1 diabetes.
It's not like it's just he's got a hurt toe. It's not like, he's just sore. He actually has a life-threatening, debilitating disease.
Steve's daughter, Ann Faylor, says the treatment her dad is receiving is hard to put into words.
Of course my dad's not the only one who's going through this. It's just that he's the only one right now that has somebody on the outside to fight for him.
Faylor says that since her dad is a type 1 diabetic, he needs to be checked on often, and his previous doctor, Thomas Jones, agrees. In a letter, Jones states it is medically necessary for him to check his blood sugar before breakfast, lunch, supper, and at bedtime. Although we are unsure on how often Faylor is checked on, the captain of the correction division at Bibb County LEC, Randy Gonzalez, says there's a way for inmates to request medical help when needed.
A request inside here to our medical staff inside the jail, and then the medical staff gets it and they set up a time and day for the inmate to come in.
Faylor has been fighting for her father's health for months. In doing so, she sent this letter to the sheriff's office.
He's my dad, and in my letter to the sheriff, that's my appeal. This is my dad.
Sheriff David Davis confirmed with WGXA News that he received this letter, and the sheriff's office contacted Faylor last week. Faylor doesn't understand how her 6-page appeal only got a brief response. It states that her complaint was investigated and the correctional health policy has been followed. I spoke with Steve Faylor through video conference, and he says his sugar has reached extreme levels at times to the point where he has passed out.
They contact medical staff immediately while going down and checking on the inmate themselves.
According to Gonzalez, inmates receive the same care that regular citizens do.
Our doctors here are licensed physicians, our nurses are licensed, so these people are no different from doctors and nurses that are outside this facility.
According to the American Diabetic Association, high blood sugar can lead to life-threatening complications. Complications that Gonzalez says are not worth her father's life.
The consequence for that could very easily be losing a limb. It could very easily be him going into a coma and not coming out of it.
Faylor says she just doesn't want her dad to leave the Bibb County LEC in worse condition than when he arrived.
Most of the time I'm trying to fight against a system that you can't win against.
Jayla Whitfield, WGXA News.
Now, Steve Faylor has not been found guilty of any crime at this time. According to the Bibb County Jail, inmates can file complaints about their care, and since Steve Faylor was booked into the facility, he says he's filed 4 of those complaints. I received a copy of those grievances this morning. You can check out those details and more on WGXA.tv. But for now, live in the studio, Jayla Whitfield, WGXA News.